Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the biggest changes already on the PvE server coming for next patch, being patch 0.97, and there's some pretty juicy information. So if you end up enjoying the video, then don't forget to hit that like button. And this video is going to be made and edited by ProGuides. It's a website that helps you improve your overall League of Legends gameplay and knowledge, and the website now is completely free to use, so definitely check it out using the link down below. Alright, so the very first thing I want to talk about in this video, and probably the most interesting part, is going to be a Mordekaiser leak. Now, as I'm sure most of you know, Mordekaiser has been confirmed to get a rework. Well, apparently it's going to be coming maybe sooner than we all expected. So on the PvE a few days ago, Riot accidentally, at least apparently, uploaded a bunch of pictures of the new Mordekaiser face. Now, these pictures you can see for every single rank is supposed to be the ranked rewards for Split 2. As I'm sure you guys remember, ranked now is put into 3 splits, and at the end of each split there are a bunch of rewards given to you based on how well you performed. Now the first split, which is the one we're currently in, is not set to end for at least another 30 days or so it's kind of random for Riot to suddenly put these icons for Split 2 rewards at the end of Split 2 already on the PvE server. But having said that, you can see they did reveal the Mordekaiser's new face. I mean, it looks a lot different than the current one, yet also has very similar kind of elements as well. Personally, I think it looks absolutely fantastic, but it doesn't end there just yet, because just recently they actually uploaded another picture. Maybe they just figured, you know what, since the picture for his face is already out, might as well just kind of go with it. So with that being said, they also uploaded the Split 2 icon for season 2019, which is another one that you can use as your actual summoner icon, right? Which is also very cool. This one gives us a little bit of a different angle on Mordekaiser's face, and my goodness, does it look absolutely wonderful. So with all this being said, I mean, I don't see why they would release these splits at this time. I mean, obviously it might be an accident, but this also means that Mordekaiser Rework should come out before the end of Split 2, I believe. So let me know down below what you think about this and what you think of his new look. Next up, I want to quickly talk about some massive changes coming to ARAM. Now, I personally don't play ARAM, but I know a lot of people really enjoy it, so let's go over it very quickly. The TLDR is the fact that while Butcher's Bridge is finally back, you can now actually ban champions in ARAM, fewer decided games and fewer drawn out games. There's built-in poke reduction now as well. There's a new summoner spell called Backtrack, which gives you a small little shield and then pushes you backwards a little bit to replace Barrier. There's a new item called Mariner's Vengeance, which is essentially ARAM's Guardian Angel. Ghost Walkers are back, and of course Warmog's armor. And the final thing is they made some rune adjustments, so things like Gathering Storm, for instance, in ARAM are obviously a lot better now, because before you wouldn't really take it since ARAM never really lasted all that long. But on the flip side, you also have other runes that were just simply too powerful that are just now less powerful. Plus a bunch of nerfs and buffs to a lot of champions just based on how much damage they take or deal or how much healing they can receive. But now let's move on to the actual buffs, changes, and all that stuff for the champions themselves, starting things off with kind of like a mini rework over to Blitzcrank. So starting off with his passive, the shield strength has been changed from 50% of his current mana down to 30%, but that's obviously not the big change, because the big change is towards his ultimate, Static Field. It now has a completely new passive effect that states the following: while Static Field is active, lightning charges Blitzcrank's fists, marking enemies he attacks. After 1 second, marked enemies take, and then base damage of course, from 50 to 150 plus 30% AP in magical damage. So instead of having that kind of random lightning strike just kind of hit something, or even minions just, you know, very randomly at every few seconds or so, which was kind of annoying sometimes, especially when you're messing up your 80 carry CS as a support Blitzcrank, well, this is now going to be something you can actually control and does more damage in my opinion, because you can actually proc it much more frequently and you can force proc it, so you can choose who actually gets hit by it rather than being random. All in all, it's a pretty cool change, and I actually think it's going to make Blitzcrank a lot more powerful and a lot better as well, because don't forget, when you pull someone in and you fist them up into the air with your E, this is also going to proc this as well. It won't maybe just hit a minion or something like that, and it'll make it much more effective. But moving on to some changes coming over to Kayle. Now, Kayle is receiving yet another nerf, and the nerf is as follows. The AD and the AD per level have both been flat out lowered. Her W, Celestial Blessing, the movement speed on this ability has been lowered across the board, but the AP has been increased by a single %. And then you also have her ultimate, Starfire Spellblade, where the mana cost has been changed to now being 60 at all ranks rather than starting at 50 but then going up to 70, so a nerf early game, but then a buff after mid game. And the target's missing health as bonus magical damage has also been changed. Currently, it starts at 10 and goes up to 20%, but now it starts at 10 but only goes up to 14%, but then it now scales with 1% per 85 AP. So you're gonna need about 500 AP just to make it go back to what it was. I mean, I guess granted with that build, you'll have also more damage since you have so much more AP regardless, but this is still definitely a pretty decent nerf towards her E ability. Moving along, we have some quick changes coming over to Kane, and it's going to be towards his E ability Shadow Step. The cooldown on this ability has been increased across the board by 1 second, which isn't really horrible, but the E cooldown is now 50% lower in Shadow Assassin form, which I think makes a lot more sense since, of course, Shadow Assassin should be the more mobile one, and it kind of is already, but this will make it even more mobile and make it even more tempting so people won't always go Red Kane. Because at the moment, the default is, of course, Red Kane because no one really wants to risk blue Kane, right? It's a little more high risk, high reward. So it seems like Riot is trying to push people towards that direction, and this is not a bad way to do it. Moving along, we have the Teemo Mini rework once again back onto the PvE servers. It seems like the current iteration of the Teemo is the same as the one that was on PvE last patch cycle, so I'll go over it very quickly. He's getting a bunch of changes coming over to his base stats, which you can see on your screen here, so I'm not going to go over that. But starting off with his passive, it's essentially his old E ability that applies a dot damage as per usual, but it also gets amplified by other dot damage as well, such as his other abilities like his Q and his ultimates, or other champions' poisons like Cassiopeia, Twitch, and Singed. His Q ability is essentially the same except the base damage has been lowered and the AP ratio has also been lowered. His W no longer breaks stealth, and then his E ability is essentially his old passive but reworked into something a little bit different, where after a 2-second delay, Teemo becomes invisible indefinitely if standing still or in a bush. He can move about 5 to 9 Teemos, which is a unit of measure essentially in League of Legends, while out of the bush. Non-periodic damage from champions will break him out of his stealth, and Teemo can see 25% further while stealth as well, which is very interesting. And then as usual, upon exiting stealth, he gains a bunch of extra attack speed. And the final thing is, of course, we have his ultimates, where the base damage has been lowered, the AP ratio has been lowered as well, but you can now hold more shrooms overall. But don't forget, his ultimate and his Q ability now have their own specific poison effect, which again stacks with his passive being its own poison effect as well. So that's 3 overall in his own kit to buff his passive's damage. So as usual, let me know what you guys think about this Teemo Mini rework down below in the comments. Now the final champion I want to talk about is yet another kind of mini rework coming over to the ultimate, and that's going to be Aatrox. So first, very quickly, starting with his E ability, the healing has been increased and the cooldown has also been lowered. But moving on to his ultimate and the juicy parts, Aatrox reveals his true demonic form for up to 13 seconds and begins to fill a blood well. The blood well stores all healing he takes during this time, and at the end of the effect or upon taking lethal damage, he heals depending on how full the blood well is. Now this is the interesting part. During this time, the Darkened Blade has no cooldown and resets the cooldown of Umbral Dash. Additionally, Aatrox gains movement speed when not in combat with champions or turrets, and up to 30% total AD and fears nearby minions. So yes, you heard that correctly. When he's in his new ultimate, he has no cooldown on his Q. So he is going to be spamming that thing like there is absolutely no tomorrow, and that's going to be something a little bit interesting, I guess, to say the least. Now, I don't think this is going to be shipping in this current patch, so Riot did put it on the PvE server just to kind of test it to see what people think and to see how it feels and all that stuff. So again, not shipping on this patch, but man, is this something that's going to be interesting or what? Next, let's go into some changes coming over to items and runes, starting off very quickly with the Dark Seal. The AP on this item is being lowered by 5, so from 15 to 10. I mean, this item is exceptionally powerful. I mean, you always want to take this if you can as a mid laner especially, so a nerf on this is not surprising, but it also kind of sucks. Moving on, we also have Ghost Portal, kind of a mini rework to this as well, where it has a new effect that states when your ward expires, they leave behind a Ghost Portal, which grants vision for 60 seconds, and nearby enemy champions scare the Ghost Portal away. You still gain the adaptive bonus AD or AP for every Ghost Portal spawned. And after you spawn 10 of them, you additionally gain 10 adaptive force. This is actually quite interesting because this is very similar to Zombie Ward, which I think is a little bit weird, to be honest, because I don't see why you would ever want to take Zombie Ward after this. But at the same time, this also kind of rewards you for warding, and it's actually emphasizing you to ward, which I think, especially in lower elos, is a very good thing. But then we also have some changes coming over to Eyeball Collection, where you no longer get eyeballs for ward takedowns and you no longer gain an eyeball on an assist. Eyeballs on kill have been lowered from 2 to 1, but the AD and AP have both been increased by double for every single eyeball. So now it only takes 10 eyeballs to complete the collection as opposed to 20, so in other words, you get a lot more bonuses for actually getting an eyeball, but it's also much more difficult to get it. Honestly, I think this is going to be a really kind of poor choice of runes to take. I don't think this is actually very good, and I don't think people will take it very often. And the final thing is, of course, we have a zombie ward that no longer gives you bonus damage to champions after you kill a ward, but now it gives you an adaptive bonus of either AD or AP for every zombie ward spawned, and after 10 zombie wards, you gain 10 adaptive force, so a very similar concept to the new Ghost Poro. Though again, with that being said, I still feel like going for Ghost Poro might be overall better. And last but not least, we of course have 2 new skins on the PvE as well, one of which being Dunk Master Ivern, which has got a lot of kind of mixed reviews for sure. I personally think it looks pretty cool, but I feel like Ivern players aren't very happy because it's essentially another troll skin and they wanted something more serious. On top of this, we also have a new Hextech skin coming out for Jarvan. Now, a lot of people have also been slightly upset about this as well, thinking that it's just not kind of up to par with the other Hextech skins. But either way guys, that is going to be about it for this video. There you have it, a bunch of new changes already on the PvE server, including the very special and spicy Mordekaiser leak, so now we know how he roughly looks like. Let me know what you think about these changes and the Mordekaiser leak down below in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, especially for the Mordekaiser parts. Subscribe if you haven't, check out my other videos as well, but thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you for the next video. Peace.